people are beginning to ask themselves, is there a mental health issue in my family? How can we dig deeper into this? And I think Diana is our right partner for that. You have an amazing background, and we are just eager to listen to you.
All right.
Women deserve to have a supportive network of like-minded women who empower, discover, and embrace her true divinity. We believe when women feel safe, loved, accepted, they feel empowered to achieve their goals and highest values. And this is what we bring to you through our organization. Well, it's very nice to see you again. So many of our women friends are waiting for the videos we are making, since they're sending in the questions they have to come up in their life. And this is what the 12 weeks are about. The preparation for our January program is really that we touch on different topics that where you feel like you bump into and you want to know a little bit more about it, to begin already to work on yourself, solve problems, or learn tools. And today is week 5. We were all enjoying that we saw you last time on our live call. Oh, yeah. It was so nice to get even more direct questions and seeing, when one woman asked a question, the other ones were nodding their head or turning their eyes and saying, oh yeah, that's what we are going through too. So it was lovely and natural that we could connect and feel that we all are in the same boat in some ways, have very similar problems or questions. We're not alone. And here is a source for answers, for growing, and just making our lives better. So today is week 5, and our topic is mental and emotional health. And I know, Diana, you said that you would prepare mostly on speaking about mental health, which reminds me, oh my God, how much is it out there in the news? It has never been addressed that much. It has become the topic very loud, so to speak, because the pandemic did something to us, no doubt about it. Not only that, marriages, much more divorce happened or is happening because people realize they can't be together 24 hours and don't have enough tools. And then working and having the kids at home and just a lot of other things happening, too much to digest. And people are beginning to ask themselves, is there a mental health issue in my family? And I think it is really important to look at this a little bit closer. We need to know, what do we need to function emotionally and mentally? It's important, how do we function in our daily life, all the challenges we have, or the joyful life that we want to live, does it work? So how can we dig deeper into this? And I think Diana is our right partner for that. You have an amazing background, where you were confronted. Not only are you the author of a book on taking time out and in meditation, you have many courses on your website and things like that, but you already shared with us last time how intense or disciplined you are with routine, or how important it is for you, and you stick to it and you correct it, even you fall off the horse and you start again, and so on. And then also, I think your background as a nurse. So all these things are really a benefit to us, and we are just eager to listen to you.
Yeah, thank you so much, Hilda. Yes, you're right. Since the pandemic, a lot of that was brought into our awareness. Actually, I think it's a good thing, because in the past, nobody wanted to talk about it. It was almost like a taboo, we say here in my language, a taboo topic. Don't talk about this. you know, or other people think you're crazy if you ask questions about it, you know. But the pandemic really brought it more into our awareness, and I think it's good because now a lot of skills and tools and support is coming out actually. So it's a good thing. It was also addressed in the challenge. Some people mentioned that they are anxious, they need to be more confident, or they're looking for calm and peace because they're going through a big transition in their life. So they need to feel that safety and security, and they're lacking confidence. It was also mentioned that people are going through fears and they want to overcome fear, even the fear of missing out on life, of not being able to do enough, to have enough time, staying on top of things. So these are all some examples of what was brought to our awareness in the challenge, and it all really falls back into being mentally fit, being mentally healthy and emotionally healthy. That is attached and belongs together. So first I want to just acknowledge that we understand very much how that feels and how challenging that is, especially in the last years, as Hilde mentioned. Through the pandemic, there's much more demands and challenges that we as humans never had to go through. Our generation, your generation, we never had to go through such things. And there was so much scarcity. And with that, it became small responsibilities, or big, doesn't matter, became even more challenging and even more demanding of how to balance our life and everything what's going on around us. And it can really drag us down and throw us off. And we are also missing the support, right? And that's what we are hoping to create here with Crystal Within. We want to really create a support network of women where we can listen to each other, share about what we're going through, so that you don't feel always that you are alone. But we understand how that really feels. So we want to really support you in that. And today I want to give you a couple of very simple steps that you can do. But later. So before we go into that, I was researching into what this actually means to be mentally healthy, right? And according to the World Health Organization, they say you are mentally healthy if you are able to realize your own abilities, if you can cope with stress normal, if you can work productively and also contribute to your community. And once just one of these parts is off, it means already you're not mentally healthy. And when I think about it, and maybe you think about it, surely at one point in your life you weren't able to realize all these 4 points, right? I surely can say that for myself often, where I wasn't able to contribute to my community because I was so overwhelmed with my personal stuff and my relationship that I had no energy left. No energy, no time, no mind to do anything for others. And that doesn't mean that it's anything bad, nothing to be ashamed of. I just want to say that, bring this also to your attention, that it's normal that we have ups and downs in life. It's nothing bad. It's completely part of life. That is normal. Yeah, so it is something that we are all challenged by. And as Hilde said, yes, I'm a nurse, and I also did study natural medicine, and I worked more than 10 years in the medical field. And I thought always, while I was there, that stress is the bad guy, right? Even until very recently, when I started to make the research for my book that I wrote, I thought, okay, great, if we work on the stress that we all experience, then we got it, right? That should be the solution. That's what I thought. But I realized, actually Harvard also supports that. Harvard University made a study, and they say 90% of all our physical, emotional, and mental problems is caused by stress. 90%. So basically, you can blame it all on the stress, right? Everything that you experience, it's the stress fault. That's the culprit. But then the question comes up when you think about it a little more. What causes the stress in the first place? Why am I triggered, for example, if my schedule is thrown off and I have to adjust within minutes, within a second, or make a big life decision, or a big change is coming and I get triggered, it throws me off, I get angry, I get upset, I get insecure. And why doesn't it affect my husband at all? You know, we all have different triggers. or different stresses that come up. And that is due to our experiences. When you think about it, when you had this kind of experience the first time, then often it goes all the way back to your childhood. When did this happen the first time? When did I get triggered the first time? This same feeling that you have where things were thrown off balance. In my example, when I have my plan and I stick to my plan, and then suddenly my plan completely gets destroyed, right? And it completely throws me off emotionally. When did that happen for the first time? This is what I would ask myself. And it goes all the way back when I was a little child. So when you realize that, and then we go into our childhood, we have to think about what are the human needs that we have, the basic human needs as a child to be able to cope with our stress, with our environment, with our life. The basic human needs that we have, even already as infants, is the first, we have the need for attachment to our parents. We need safety from our parents, we need love, we need nourishment, and we need to feel that this is met by our parents, because our life literally is depending on us. As an infant, we're unable to take care of ourselves. And the second one is we have a need for authenticity. That means we want to express how we feel. Even my little 11-month-old baby, already now, especially the last couple of 2 weeks, he's expressing to me so strongly what he wants and what he doesn't want, right? And he shows his anger. He makes, or he stares to an object that he wants to have, and he complains so much until I give it to him. So he expresses so strongly what he wants and what he doesn't want and how he feels. And then he sees, of course, my reaction, my response to that. Do I get stressed? Do I yell at him? Do I get annoyed? Or am I accepting who he is and what he's expressing to me? So he has that need to be authentic already at that small age, and it becomes just bigger. But what happens often is a situation, going back to me as a mom, when I'm stressed out, say, and my little one, I don't know, destroys my paper or my notebook, yeah, and I had a hard day and already a lot of things happen, and he expresses his anger because I want to take that away from him and he wants to keep it, and then he expresses his anger, and then if I would be completely stressed out and yell at him, he would learn that, oh, when I express my anger, when I show my emotions, my feelings, how I feel and what's going on inside of me, my mom yells at me, she gets angry. And maybe this doesn't happen just once, but many times over and over again. And then the children already learn that when they are authentic with their emotions, then they are often rejected or not accepted by the very caregivers where their life is actually depending upon. It sounds really strong, but it's actually true, right? Because an infant and a baby is unable to survive. They need mommy and daddy. So then you find yourself, or they find themselves in the situation of having to make a decision between the safety, the attachment, or the authenticity. What can they have if they have to make a choice? Because mom gets angry if I'm authentic. So I rather choose to suppress my emotions, to sacrifice my authenticity in order to stay with the attachment which I need for survival. So in that moment, when that happens, that is, according to Dr. Geber Malte, which is an expert on trauma, addiction, and stress in childhood development. That moment when you make the decision, you suppress your authenticity, that is a trauma. A traumatic experience happening inside of you. And it's not so much what's happened outside of you, but more really what is happening inside of you. Because when you have that trauma, when you suppress yourself, you disconnect from yourself. You disconnect from your heart, you disconnect from your mind and from your being. And that is really losing the attachment to yourself. And it causes an enormous stress reaction in your whole system, in your body. And as we know, I could go all into science now about how stress and the chemical reaction happens in your body and what it does, but I don't want to go in this today. But stress, we know it makes us sick over time. When your cortisol levels and your adrenaline levels are too high constantly, and you're always in the stress reaction or response because your body constantly feels you're not accepted, you're rejected, and you have to suppress who you are and you're disconnected, then you get sick over time, and it really causes a lot of bad effects inside of you, to the point where you can't even think straight, to going to the extreme, right? In a situation, maybe you had that you cannot, you have an argument and suddenly you feel like, oh God, my brain is actually not working, or you say things that you don't mean, you know, because really you can't think straight when you're stressed out. So what I learned from this really is stress is not really the culprit. Stress is not the bad guy. There's something so much more deeper that's causing our stress. The overwhelm, the fear, the insecurity that we have, the anxiety. And that really comes from being disconnected from our own core, from our own being, from our own heart, because we chose that this was more safe when we were young, and we adopted that habit, carrying it all the way into our adulthood, until one day we wake up and we think, I don't even know who I am anymore. Who am I? I can't even connect with myself anymore. And so knowing that, the best way, I think, to combat, to answer to the stress, to the demands, to the fear, and to the emotional ups and downs we have and traumas, is, I think, that we reconnect with ourselves. And that is not something you can just do today, tomorrow, or in a month. It's a whole journey. It takes time. You got to be patient with yourself. But I think that is ultimately the answer, to take the time every day, a couple of minutes, to just reconnect with yourself. And how can you do that? Well, that brings me to almost the last point here, is this small few steps what you can start is I would say, whenever you are very stressed out and you feel overwhelmed and the anxiety is bubbling up inside of you, you get nervous, maybe you start to sweat and stress, and your heart starts to raise and you feel the tension coming up. Drop everything you're doing. Stop. Go away. If you are in a conversation, in an argument, just say, I'm sorry, I need to take a couple of minutes to myself. Can we continue this later? Can we continue our conversation later? You just stop everything you're doing and then go in a separate room and just breathe. Do a breathing exercise. And one of the best that I learned from Harvard University to really stop the stress response is a technique that is called double the exhalation. And that's very easy. You just count, when you inhale, 1, 2, and then as you exhale, you count to 4. You double it. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then you slowly prolong it. Do that just 5 minutes and then prolong. Inhale for 3 seconds, exhale for 6, inhale for 4, exhale for 8. And that is a switch in your body out of the stress response into the so-called relaxation mode, where you can function back into your normal mode, where you can think again. So that is for the immediate stress. When you find yourself in a stressful situation, that's the immediate response that you can do. Stop, because you're not productively anyway when you're stressed out. So stop what you're doing, take 5 minutes to yourself and do that breathing exercise. And I recommend you actually to do the breathing exercise every day as a habit. So you practice that, so that when you find yourself in a stressful situation, you already have that and it comes easy to you, and you don't have to think, how did it go again? What did she say? But you can directly step into and do that breathing exercise. It's a very good practice to just start your day with that. Clears your lungs, gives you fresh oxygen. So it's a good thing to do anyways. And then the second point is, once you calm down a little bit from the stress and you can think again, then I want you to remind yourself and realize that you are not your thoughts and you are not your emotions, right? Emotions is an energy that is in motion. That means it's an energy inside of your body that goes through your system, through your body, and then it wants to leave. It wants to be expressed through you and then wants to leave. But when you suppress it, the way we have learned it, then it just gets stuck in your body. And then you get sick over time. And it makes damage. And you hold on to it. So what you want to do is, you want to realize, okay, I am not my thoughts and I am not my emotion. So then you do the third step. You put one hand on your heart and you say whatever you feel. You say, even though I feel, and then you name how you feel. I feel angry, I feel stressed, I feel upset, I feel hurt, I feel disappointed, whatever. Even though I feel like this, I love and accept myself. That sentence actually comes from EFT, but I like it so much. That's why I'm using it for a lot of different occasions, because it's so powerful. Even though I feel, and name what you feel, I love and accept myself. And I also want you to notice that don't say, I am stressed, I am angry, because that states that this is who you are, this is your identity. But this is not your identity. This is an experience that you have right now, and that experience will pass. So say just, I feel like that. Don't make it to your personal identity. I feel stressed. And then take another deep breath in. And then the last step would be set an intention. When you go back now to that conversation that you had before, or to the task at your work, whatever you stopped, set an intention of the outcome that you want to have, a positive intention you want to move forward on. So I think that's what I would like to leave with you today. There's much more to go into, but these are a couple of steps, I think, that you can start practice to take care of your mental health in a way that you have a technique that you can use when you're stressed out, when you're overwhelmed, when you feel anxious, but also long-term, really getting back in touch with yourself, with your body. When you do that breathing exercise, you do reconnect with yourself, with your body, because you use your body, you work with your body through the breathing exercise, and that reconnects with yourself. The thing is, when we're stressed out, we are all over here with our head and our energy everywhere. So when you do that exercise, you really come back to yourself. So it's a start to reconnecting with yourself. It takes time to do to work on the triggers and the wounds that come up, which we'll do in the 4-week program. But I think that's something to start on.
Oh, it's beautiful, Diana. All this information that you have given us is just precious. I was thinking, wow, we probably all have to listen to it a second and the third time, make notes to look at it. And that's really the purpose of our 12 weeks, is to stimulate, to give you already some material to work on, ideas, how you can shift and change your life. So what you were sharing with us today is just phenomenal. I think that it answered a lot for those who are thinking about what is emotional and mental health. And you said 90%, we thought 90% is caused by stress, but then the next question is, how do I get rid of the stress, and what is my stress, and so on? What can I do about it? I loved that you ended up at helping us explain about what relationship you have with your son and how you're parenting, what you're thinking already. How does my child experience me? And how important it is that you watch what his needs are, and what you maybe would be tempted to do, and it would shut him down, but you have the presence and the awareness as a parent that you then overcome it, that you don't do it, and that you somehow make him number one, his needs, and what you know about a human being, that you make the number one. This is really where we grow as individuals. If we do it with a child, it's easier, because my gosh, this little baby, little kids, we all love them, and it's hard to be mad at them. But then, interesting enough, when we are older and we have adults doing the same things to us, it's harder to respond so loving and making them first. So what you shared with us about authenticity, what separates us, how we shut down emotions, and then it's all piled up in us, which creates stress and we can get sick from. I think that's something everybody can sit down and just think about it or journal about it and become more self-aware that in daily life we regard that. I also made a note and wrote here unresolved issue. I don't think you used that word, but that's what it comes down to when you're saying all stems from these experiences we had, and each of us had different experiences. And then boom, something happens in the present. We zoom right back to that one. And we don't know that the other person did not have an experience like this. They don't feel and see it the same way, but we are stressed out about it. And we could, that's our work. That will be our work in the next year, and that we dig a little bit deeper about our unresolved issues and how they are a barrier for us to move forward in our life. So yeah, breathing, let's keep breathing. As a reminder every day. I mean, just before we did our recording here, I was sitting watching Wim Hof. I like him also, that daily, at least one time, I sit and I do the very deep breathing and then holding and deep breathing and holding and so on, in order to stimulate my lungs and the brain, to go more in the limbic system and to go deeper. And then the breathing that you said that we can use in a moment is just so precious and helpful in the moment to calm down. I use that one when I want to go to sleep. I breathe in the evening. I literally have my head on the pillow and I think, okay, in and much longer out and in.
But it feels good, doesn't it? I mean, I really feel a change when I do that for a couple of minutes.
It feels good. And I also trust that I just need to do it long enough and I will fall asleep.
Yeah.
So thank you for all your insight, for your experience, and for the many good tools you gave us today. And there will be more, of course, when we go deeper into each issue in our January program and next year in the follow-up program. So thank you, Diana, for that. And we all see each other again week by week. We're sending you a video. Next time will be a safe conversation. So we hope you love it and take a lot away from this. And then in the 8th week, of course, we see each other live again, which we're all looking forward to. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.
Love you.
Bye-bye.